started the path of becoming a CRNA. I remember I changed my mind. I was a nurse practitioner. I was in a nurse practitioner program at NYU in New York City, and I loved it. It was an amazing program. But in my heart and my soul, I felt it wasn't a fit for me to do acute care nurse practitioner. I wanted to be an acute care nurse practitioner, work in a hospital setting, and it just didn't feel right anymore. You know, sometimes in life you think you want to do one thing and you realize maybe that's not for me right now. So I went ahead and did a lot of research, and everyone in the ICU that I go to are becoming a CRNA. Like, it was so popular, and it still is. But for me, I wasn't interested before. I just thought I would just go to school to become a nurse practitioner, work as a nurse practitioner, be an advanced practice nurse. Just because I feel as in nursing, you become a nurse, maybe associate superior nurse. And then you hear, oh, the place you're working at, they'll pay for you to go to school to get your bachelor's. This is pretty much standard now. Still, you can be associate superior nurse and do an amazing job. But, as practice, as a level of practice requirements keep changing. And then it's like, oh, when you're a bachelor's prepared registered nurse, okay, now, the next step is to be an advanced practice nurse. And so, yeah, I was trying to figure it out, what I wanted to do specifically. And so I said to myself, you know what? I never shadowed a nurse practitioner, right? I never shadowed. I just went ahead and went to school for it. Hold on. It's kind of noisy outside. I think it's rush hour. And so, yeah. And when I finally decided that I was gonna shadow, because I feel, yes, when you are a nurse practitioner, or when you're in nurse practitioner school, I didn't shadow, so I'm probably going in circles. So I wish I had shadowed. I wish that should have been something I did right away, because you have this idea of this profession and you really don't know unless you go and shadow and see the day in the life, just like me, seeing a day in the life of being a CRNA. And if you're curious about that, I definitely have a video on that. And I have a couple shorts of me in the operating room, just setting up my room. Can't do too much stuff because of HIPAA violation and hospital policy. I can't film, for example, in surgery or anything like that. But setting up my room before I start was fine. But if you want to check out those videos of me going through kind of my day in my life, and I would love, you're more than welcome to check it out. It's an amazing video. Took time to edit it. But, I really wanted to share because I feel sometimes you may not have the opportunity to shadow. And when COVID happened, it was very difficult for, students who are interested in becoming a CRNA to shadow. But for example, for me, I went ahead and shadowed a CRNA in my hospital that I was working as an ICU nurse. And I didn't say no to not being able to. I went a couple of times. Honestly, for me, just showing interest is always a lot for, always so much for someone who is a CRNA. So I went to the director and the chief of the of the practice in NYU, and I wanted to shadow and just warm and welcome and loving and sweet and nice, and scheduled me to shadow. And I went one time, and then I went another time, and wow, seeing be a CRNA live, to me in that moment was unbelievable. The practice, and how similar it was to ICU in the sense of titrating, but you're pretty much autonomous in most of the places that you are working. You're in the OR by yourself practicing. You are the sole anesthesia provider in that room, for example. You may have an anesthesiologist that is either a supervisor or a medical direction, and that's variations depending on where you're working, your state, legislation. But you're in the room and providing this beautiful anesthesia that, I don't know, like just seeing a person laying on the operating room asleep. So they can't talk to you, they can't have a conversation with you, you can't ask them anything because they're asleep. And you take over and you provide this anesthetic because their lives are in your hand. You don't even their lives are in your hand. At any moment, if something was to happen, it can happen. May not happen with the anesthesia you're providing. You may be providing an amazing anesthesia and everything is stable. But the surgeon, for example, if there's something going on, a complication, something difficult, that can change at any moment. Any moment. And giving yourself to someone to give you that safe anesthetic is everything. I mean, patients who come in in pre-op, for example, when I come to meet them for the first time, I have less than 5 minutes to get to know them, to go through their history and physical, go through their labs, go through maybe if they have a history of cardiac history, going through their echocardiogram, looking at all of their cardiac studies. I have 5 minutes to talk to this person that I've never met before and decide the type of anesthesia, how safe this anesthesia will be. Am I preparing enough for this patient? And is this history something that I can fall back on? Because every patient's different. Some patients, you hear their history and you're like, they know, they're very vocal. They really know themselves, which is so beautiful. And they know everything has happened to them. Some patients, they just really don't know. And that's okay. I mean, everyone's different. But you have to be that person to provide this beautiful anesthetic. It may not even be beautiful, whatever I think it's beautiful. It's my passion. Literally, it's my passion. I love what I do. I'm not the best CRNA. I'm not the worst CRNA. I just always say to myself, I'm average, but what I do in the operating room, I put my heart and soul. And I'm always willing to learn. And that's one of the things when you're thinking about this path of becoming a CRNA, it's not about, I'm going to be this CRNA and I'm going to be that. No, it's also about your passion, because the schooling is very rigorous. At times it can be so competitive that it can be difficult, more like sometimes it can be as competitive as med school. So at the same time, yes, that's a possibility. It might be very difficult for you, but at the same time, if you want to become something, anything, and become a CRNA, you can do it. Excuse me. I'm being real, like live. This is so interesting. So sorry. Just being myself. All right, so let's see. I saw some things pop up. Yes, this is all new to me. So I do apologize for this filming. It's not the smoothest, and I just did it on the whim. And I'm going to give a little bit of advice. And I haven't been on YouTube for a while. Yes, I can continue up my journey. But yes, just to go back, why haven't been on YouTube. Been a lot of transformation within myself. Because I think pretty much throughout my whole life, I've always been in school. And I just love learning and growing and constantly in school. So I went into, a bachelor's program. And first I was in biology, chemistry. Then I decided nursing. And then after nursing, I graduated and I went to a teaching institution, NYU Langone Medical Center in New York City. And I kind of learned that within 6 months to a year, it may have changed now because it's been so many years, over a decade, that you can go right to school for free pretty much to NYU if you get accepted. And that is a pretty good university. I mean, any university in nursing, I feel it's amazing. But I was like, I'm working here and they're going to pay for my schooling. So I was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. So 6 months, I was like, I'm going to sign up. Where can I sign up? So I got accepted and I was in nurse practitioner school. So right away, I was working full time and then going to nurse practitioner school part time, continuously in school. And of course, I love learning, so I did research. I did research in the being myself, pharmacology department at my institution in substance abuse. And I did research projects. I was just so into it. And then going from nurse practitioner school, deciding to go to CRNA school. And it's interesting enough, when I went to CRNA school, I was pregnant initially when I got accepted. I was pregnant with my daughter Bella. So it's interesting how that dynamic happened. Pregnant, went to my orientation, pretty much 8 to 9 months pregnant. And everyone thought my husband was going to be the student, realizing the 8, 9 month old woman standing next to them was their classmate. Had my daughter 6 days, approximately 6 days or so, before I started school. And that was, I was very naive. You know, first time having a child, not really knowing. And I just said, hey, I talked to my husband. We were like on the same page, you know, and he was in full support. And so I went ahead and we went ahead and did the program. So then did the program and then I went to start working. So a lot of schooling and a lot of challenges along the way. Good, yes. Bad, no. Every challenge, the good and the bad, has made me a stronger person. And you will learn that through the process of deciding what you want to do. Maybe it's a difficult journey, but the journey, living in that journey is important. And just knowing to yourself, when it gets the most difficult, you don't give up. Even when I've cried, you know, cried. I had moments that I said to myself, I can't do this. Like literally, I cannot do this. And I still did it. I've had so many situations of being turned down on the journey. You CRNA? And moments where I was distraught, you know, and did I let that stop me? No, I kept going. Even when I was struggling the most, I just kept on going. And honestly, it was one of the best decisions of my entire life. But now, I started the Thrive CRNA channel and I had a lot of things I needed to work on. And it had nothing to do with my family. It had nothing to do with my friends. It didn't have to do with anything with my job, which was, I love my job. It had to do with working on myself. Now, what do you mean working on yourself? Just working on Christine, giving time for Christine, you know, because Christine is always giving. But at times, that full cup will become empty, you know? And so I really need to take care of me. And that's where my yoga journey happened. Now, if you're not into yoga, it's all good. I remember I wasn't into it either. I didn't believe it was for me. And sometimes the things that you think that you don't need, you actually need. And it was a way to help me heal emotionally with a lot of the things that I've gone through in my past. We all have our past. I might say I'm having a past. You have a past too. We all have our things that we've dealt with in our lives. And I needed to take time to not keep giving because I was becoming very empty. I needed to take care of me. And yes, I did take care of myself. I did a Vipassana 10-day silent meditation, which sounds very interesting, but silence for 10 days, a whole lot of things comes up. Whole lot of things you have to deal with emotionally to allow yourself to heal. And then practicing yoga. Our body holds on to so much. And yes, you're saying, I'm here about CRNA. What is she talking about? But honestly, I'm here to help you to help with that journey as well. Because if you're emotionally capable, if you have start to work on yourself, it doesn't have to be much. It could be literally anything. It's going to help you on the journey because nowadays the interview process is not about having the highest grades. Yes, it's very important having good grades, but at the same time, you can have the best grades in the world. You go to that interview and you're just not emotionally, the way they ask you questions is very psychological. If your energy does not match that cohort, doesn't matter if you have a 4.5 GPA. They're not going to accept you into the program nowadays. I've spoken to many students. I love precepting. I love helping. Like, I don't know everything. And so I learn from students and students learn from me. They have the book smarts that, I do study and I do keep up. But at the same time, when you're in school, it's different. You're like the smartest person, and I give it up to CRNA students and even nursing students, even students who are not even students, but who are trying to learn in any way possible. I give it up to you. I really do. And so I needed time to work on myself. And yoga really helped me. And yoga, you think of yoga as a physical thing. It's not just physical. It's more mental too. The breathing, the meditation, how you treat yourself and how you treat the world around you is pivotal. So important. And a lot of the words I might be saying may not be perfectly correct. But those things are tangible things. I'm just being myself on this live for the first time I've ever done it before and just being myself. And I even feel more myself being here on live than anything. And whenever I get my first message from someone, even though I have over 16,000 subscribers, to me, does that make me feel any better than anyone else? No. I'm literally an average Joe. Just wanted to share some of the wisdom, some of the things that I've learned along the way. And this is pretty much more of an introductory type of video. And I just wanted to just be open and just be myself. And there are people going to be out there that's going to judge you, that's going to judge me. And does that stop me from being here today on this live stream? No. Does it stop me from wanting to share as much out of my heart as possible? No. I am here as a selfless soul, wanting to provide you with wisdom. Wisdom in your career, wisdom in nursing, everything. I'm here to just share as much as possible. And if you're open to learning and growing along with me, as well as sharing in the comments, I would love to hear some comments. Not for me, but for others, because others are going to watch these videos. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe 10 years from now. And they're going to say to themselves, wow, I have a question. Maybe I'm shy, maybe I'm uncomfortable. But you standing up and asking those questions and getting a conversation going, it's beautiful because you can share with each other, just like I'm sharing right now. I'm not looking for any gain. There's nothing I'm looking for. I'm here just to share and just be here And the next time I have a call, it'll be interesting to go back and forth a little bit. And I have a community post kind of asking some topics for lives, and I would love for you to add to, because I want to hear you. What do you need? What do you want? And the first couple of videos I can try to be more introductory, just kind of giving you a basis, but when you ask questions, I'm here to answer it. And if I don't have the answer, I'll try my best to research and come back and maybe post it for you in the future. And you never know, someone might be on here and might be a CRNA, might be a CRNA student, and will answer that question. That's the beautiful thing about community. Because I don't want to keep this information to myself. What am I gaining? I want to share it, give it to you so you can become a CRNA. You can be a registered nurse. Maybe you can be an artist, which is beautiful. Share those artwork with me. I would love to see it. Maybe you're not even in the position yet to even decide on doing CRNA. That's fine. I can help you with ways, give you some tips and tricks, how to get yourself started. All right, well, I hope this video is kind of all over, just literally underwhelmed. I said, let me just try this live thing. And I just wanted to share a little bit. Now, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'm excited to see you in the next video. Bye.